That you've all come today. I hope you've enjoyed the food and the drinks and looking at all the art, and I'd love to hear what you think. It's been the most amazing journey since the beginning of this year, creating all the paintings and figuring out how I like to paint and looking at all the beauty of New Zealand. And you decided to say it was all a dream. Sometimes you forget that it can be a bit surreal being, you know, existing, and how you view the world can feel a bit like a dream. Some of them are abstracties, some of them are just trying to copy what I saw. At uni I studied animation, standing film and cartoons, so for me I do view these images almost like shots from a film. If you can imagine them being a sort of slightly surreal cartoon film, then that's quite fun. In Pleasant Point, this is one of the houses. And to me it just again seemed very cinematic and cartoony, just the way it was such a perfectly white picket fence house. I just thought it was absolutely gorgeous. And the driveway, we had the moon shining and it was perfectly aligned, and I thought, well, that's beautiful. And the car was lighting the gates, and you could only see pops of colour, because you know when it's very dark, you could only get the speckles of the red and the yellow as everything turned autumn. You get all these moths that hit the windscreen, and that felt quite cinematic, because you can imagine all these little creatures just they sort of glow in the dark. So this one here is actually a real tree on the farm that has a perfectly shaped heart in the groove, and I couldn't believe it was real. It was almost like a cartoon. Out the driveway, everything gets lit up red, and I've tried to show that here. This one at night. Very depressing point because it dips down, and if you were in a race car, you'd probably fly into the air a couple of meters. So, this one, there's a name for it, and it's an animation technique they used to use in the Victorian era, and it's called like a Phenakistoscope. I always forget how to pronounce it. And then these 4 grounds, and this was the first one that was part of this idea, and I actually used embroidery because I thought, well, you should be able to embroider through canvas. Beautiful old shed and tree, and they've been struck by lightning because we get very strong winds, and quite a few trees have actually, massive trees have fallen over. I wanted to wrap around the landscape so that it gave an eye lens feel. Like this was meant to be one of the gum trees on the farm, and I wanted to show how tall the trees were by having jump up through 2 different canvases. We put it into the corner, but it's one of my favourites because, and at the time there was the eclipse going on, and I thought it looked like an eye, and I didn't want it to be too much like an eye because I didn't want to freak you out with an eye staring at you, but I just like the way that the rays that are gold shoot out, and you have all these leaves that look a bit like ribbons. That was the idea behind that one. If we go down, this one here is called Buried Treasure, and the idea behind it was to try and approach the painting through layers. So I started with just the sky, the landscape, which is obviously very much inspired by the New Zealand landscape, and added plants that swirled through across the 9 different paintings, so I wanted them to connect, and I think it sort of creates the feeling of a window. Originally, my skills are more in illustration and sketching. Very small brush, and work in little illustrations of objects that I'd seen in autumn. I wanted to show the changing seasons and how the wind kind of blows, and because this was all painted over, for me it was a very useful process of figuring out how to paint. now that I sort of know how the paint works, I can then start illustrating stuff more finely. These are also more Wanaka series. This is just one of the Wanaka views of reflections of the willow trees, because they're beautiful willow trees. I use chip because it looks like the wires inside the computer, but it's also Lake Wanaka. And I added flecks of gold a bit like that. And all of them are available as framed prints.
They'll be auctioned at Hector
And
Black's
they'll be auctioned at Hector Black's.
on
so
Thursday.
Thursday.
The night, so that'll be
We'll
fun.
have Tim Black. You know, you can bid on him, or not bid on him, but he'll
Yeah.
He's being sold. I wanted to do a few more using that idea, and we want to get a spinner, which we were planning on doing, we didn't get round to. But I just think it would have been really, because in theory, that magpie, which we do see on the farm, would move if that was spinning. Yeah, we would look like a spine. So that's sort of the idea with the round ones, that if you could spin it, you would get a little bit of feeling animation. And I think that is my explanation of all of them. So thank you so much.